Good morning. I want to take you into what I think is the first text we need to think about when we think about curating ideas. So the author of Hebrews is about to get into deep theological waters, but before he gets there, he actually pauses and says really to his audience that he can't yet get into those deep theological waters because of kind of where they're at in their thinking. And so he chides them a little bit for their thoughts and their discernment, or maybe their lack thereof. I don't intend this as a chide. I intend this as a kind of follow-up on the warning that he gives and the admonition that he gives in Hebrews 5:11 through 14. So listen, and we'll kind of explain it as we go. He writes, "About this, we have much to say. And it's hard to explain since you have become dull of hearing." Well, the this that he wanted to talk about was, and is, he'll get back to it, the Melchizedekian priesthood. Particularly how Jesus is a priest after the order of Melchizedek. But he says you're dull of hearing. And that actually means something like the equivalent of you're kind of slow to learn. It's not a compliment. He says it's hard to explain because you kind of slowed your learning. You're not attending to lifelong learning. That's important because to be a good curator of information, you need to attend to lifelong learning. For though by this time you ought to be teachers, you need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of God. You need milk, not solid food. The basic principles of the oracles of God are like the ABCs or the 1, 2, 3s, the foundational educational building blocks. He says, we got to start back there with you, for everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the words of righteousness, since he's a child. But solid food is for the mature, for those who have their powers of discernment trained by constant practice to distinguish good from evil. Let's unpack that. Powers of discernment is a way of referring to your faculties, your mental faculties, who have their wits and senses about them. It says, trained by constant practice. Trained is the Greek word that's connected to our English word for gymnasium, but it's the idea of in the ancient Greek world, you would strip yourself of all your vestments. You would train naked. The idea is, think of like somebody who wears tight spandex when they run. The idea is they're trying to be aerodynamic. You're trying to eliminate anything that would prohibit you, anything that would keep you from fully engaging the activity, who by constant practice have trained by constant practice, habitually strip themselves of distractions, strip themselves of things that would be prohibitive, to distinguish good from evil, moral awareness. So discernment, right? Curating information. Where does it come from? Habitually turning over, right? Turning over in your mind the word, habitually training your mental capacities to think clearly, habitually being a lifelong learner, but meditating on and getting into the meat of the word. So here it is, kind of an injunction to be a good theologian and a good Bible student and a good student of God's revelation and a careful thinker so that you can properly curate information and discern what's right and what's wrong. That's our starting place for curation. More about it, but an important text, Hebrews 5:11 through 14. May the Lord bless you today.